Drop it. Yeah.
Alright, what is going on everybody? My name is Flexi and today I've got another video for you, and this is the first episode of a new series on my channel called Yu-Gi-Oh! Budget Adventures, where I'm essentially just once per month going to present a budget deck that's very fun to me, or that I just think has a cool mechanic or works very well for the budget. And the first episode is going to start with Graydle. Now if you don't know anything about Graydles, they're essentially an archetype focused on stealing the opponent's monsters by destroying themselves or being destroyed by the opponent. And it's just, personally I think it's a lot of fun. You have kind of many creative plays that you can do. Also, they have many effects that destroy themselves. You can play cards that destroy, like that nuke the entire board, like Torrential Tribute. And if I go over the cards real quick now, there are 3 main deck monsters essentially, which are also color-wise themed by the effects that they're responding to. So Eagle, with this brownish like golden color, triggers when he's either destroyed by battle or by a monster effect. Alligator triggers when he's destroyed by battle or spell effect, and he's green. And Cobra is purple and is triggers when it's destroyed by battle or a trap effect. And then there are the 2 other Graydle monsters, which is Graydle Slime and Graydle Slime Jr. They're both tuner monsters. The small one is level 2, the big one is level 5. And the Slime can also destroy 2 Graydle cards you control to special summon himself and 1 Graydle monster from your graveyard. Also, since the other main deck monsters are all level 3, with the Slime together you have easy access to Synchro 8 monsters, which is pretty dope. Graydle Slime Jr. can also special summon up to 2 other Graydle monsters from graveyard in hand, so essentially with him you can also almost always have Synchro 8 access. And that's essentially the entire game plan, just destroying your own monsters, stealing your opponent's monsters, or going into Synchro 8 monsters and destroying your opponent's cards and beating him by battle. Then Graydle Impact can search your 1 Graydle card once per turn in the end phase, and also you can destroy 1 other Graydle card you control to destroy a card your opponent controls. And also it's just a Graydle card, which is important for example, for the effect of Slime. Then I play 3 Mystical Space Typhoons just to have something against back row in the deck. 1 Instant Fusion for the 1000 Asterisk trick, which is just for fun. I mean, it doesn't serve any like huge purpose gameplay wise. It's just fun to steal your opponent's monsters because the deck is themed around that anyways. And also Sea Monster Theseus, which is not necessary, it's just a level 5 tuner, and since all your main Graydle monsters are level 3, 1 normal summon and an instant fusion can also end you on a Synchro 8, which is pretty neat in some situations, but this is really not like a must in this deck. Then I play 2 Graydle Parasites and 2 Graydle Splits. Graydle Parasite comes on clutch sometimes when your opponent attacks directly. You can special summon a Graydle monster from your deck, and also you can special summon monsters to your opponent's side of the field in some situations, but personally I've never used that effect, so I can't really say too much about that one. There's Graydle Split, which you can equip this to a monster you control and then destroy it, and summon 2 Graydle monsters from your deck, which is, first of all, it's pretty dope because you can also summon the Graydle Slime, for example, and then together with a level 3 monster you can essentially just do this in your main phase 1, normal summoning like the Cobra, for example, destroy Cobra with this effect, summon level 5, level 3, steal a monster because Cobra was destroyed by a trap effect, and then go into a Synchro 8 in addition to the monster you stole, which is pretty cool. You could also play both these traps at 3. I personally chose not to do this, just to include some other more like other powerful traps. Then Crackdown is also very cool because it goes with the theme of stealing monsters, and also it stops the monsters from activating effects and attacking, so that's nice. 3 Compulsory Evacuation Devices. There's another kind of strategy you can go for with Graydles, which is playing a lot of Kaijus, and Compulsory Evacuation Device is even more powerful with the Kaijus because you can Kaiju an opponent's monster, bounce it back with the Compulsory Evacuation Device, and then Kaiju a monster again, for example, or just get rid of the Kaiju so you can attack directly or whatever. In this build it's not as important, but it's still a very cool piece of removal, so I kept it inside at 3. And then I play 4 Torrential Tributes essentially, so 2 Torrentials and 2 Kyriushins. Those can search the Torrential Tributes, and also they're pretty good because they can protect your water monsters from being destroyed. So especially if you search Torrential Tribute with the Kyriushin, normal summon a Graydle monster, and then activate Torrential Tribute, you can nuke the board and destroy all of your opponent's monsters, but protect your monster with Kyriushin, which leaves you with essentially more card advantage on the board. And even then, if your opponent still is able to keep playing, then if he destroys your monster, you can still steal 1 monster because your Graydle monster survived. Then 1 Mind Control, again, similar to Crackdown and whatnot. You can steal a monster, pretty nice. 2 Darkholds to destroy the entire board, and also in some situations to trigger the Alligator, which might not come up too often because in most cases, by experience, when you destroy your Alligator, you can also destroy the entire board of your opponent, so there's no monster to be stolen. But still, a nice board wipe. When in the Kaiju version, I play Kaiju Slumbers instead of the Darkholds. And then the last pick is really flexible, I would say. Get it? Flexible. I am flex. I chose Draining Shield here because in some situations I like to attack into a bigger monster of my opponent to destroy one of my Graydles and then steal a monster. And then of course you lose life points because you have to attack monsters in attack position. And Draining Shield gains life points while negating attacks, which is pretty neat. But you could also play something like a Storming Mirror Force, Flooding... what's it called? Is it called Flooding Mirror Force? Drowning Mirror Force. Something along those lines. Just regular Mirror Force, any other powerful trap cards. You could also take those out and bump those up to 3 each and then put another card in or whatever. It's really just up to your personal preference. I'm trying this out right now, but you can just take it out and put in anything else you like. And then to the extra deck, there's 1000 Ice Restrict, as I said, for Theseus. It's a level 5 tuner. Those two are not really important. It's just that this one is a level 5 synchro monster that can boost his attack points in some situations. So even if you only have a Slime Junior and a regular Graydle, then you can go into a synchro monster and maybe beat over some monsters. Crimson Blader is a level 8 synchro that can stop your opponent from special summoning level 5 or higher monsters if you destroy a monster by battle, which is pretty cool in some situations. And Graydle Dragon is the boss monster of the deck, level 8 synchro monster. You can summon him with the Graydles, and you can destroy up to the number of cards your opponent controls, up to the number of water monsters that you use as synchro materials for a summon. So if you summon him with Slime and a level 3, then 2 cards, Slime and 2 level 3s, then 3 cards. Pretty cool. Also, he's at 3000 attack points, and if he gets destroyed, I think you can special summon, yeah, 1 water monster from your graveyard, but the effects are negated. This entire deck, as it is right here, costs about 30 bucks, at least in Germany, that's where I live. But this one makes up half of the price, so 1 copy is €5 each. So if you cut it to 1, then you would only pay 20 euros in total. These two I didn't even calculate in, but they're like 3 bucks each. So if you take out those two and then take in these two instead, you have a little more variation. I just like the Graydle Dragons, but even if you only play one of them and none of these, then you're still at like 20 euros, so it's pretty fine. And I have also to say that this deck right here is pretty casual. It can have some very powerful moments sometimes, but it's not like hyper consistent, and there's way better things you can put in and just make it more consistent and more powerful, more resilient. Put in some floodgates and whatnot. But personally I chose to play this as a budget deck, but I have another build with the Kaijus here. So the like 3/4 of this deck are pretty much the same. Essentially I just took out a few of the trap cards to put in 6 to 7 Kaijus, the field spell, which can help you negate cards sometimes with the Gamma Seal, and also the Kaiju Slumber for the board wipe, and also some different extra deck monsters. So this one can attack twice and do piercing damage. Draco Berserker is a monster banish. This is a spell trap negate. You're also able to make Dingirza sometimes, which can out pretty much any monster on the field, and then some link monsters, whatever you feel like, but those are really not necessary. This is just for the heck of it. And I thought I might show you some of the replays now that I've shown you the deck. I've used both decks, so I think I have 2 replays with the Kaijus in it and 2 replays without. So also the last thing I can say about the deck profiles is this is going to be a little more expensive than the other version because the Kaijus are just more expensive than some of the generic trap cards. So this might be like 10 euros more expensive than the other one. Keep that in mind. But overall it's still going to be below 40 euros in most cases. So definitely a cool deck to consider when you're trying to play on a budget. And if your friends are also playing casual decks, of course. Now on to the replays. The first one was against Charmers. Which should be pretty free, as you can imagine. Right there. My opponent starts off, sets 3 cards, and summons a Hita, then leaves it at the board. I think those, yeah, Solemn Warning and Artifact sack them. And then I draw for turn, activate Graydle Impact, summon Eagle. He negates the summon. Sadly, I can't activate the effect here to steal the monster. Instant Fusion, I think he tries to negate it with Scythe, but the effect of Scythe only activates once its summon is complete. But my Instant Fusion resolved before the summon of Scythe resolved pretty much, so I was still able to summon it. Then I stole the monster, and this is also a funny situation because here I went into battle phase and I tried to attack for 3 minutes straight, but I wasn't able to. And I was reading every single card. I thought maybe his spell card said, well, you can't attack spellcaster monsters or whatever. And I was reading and reading, and then he said you can't attack because of Instant Fusion, which I completely forgot. Pretty funny. So I stole this monster. And the end phase I searched with Impact. I set a compulsory evacuation device. Now he normal summons Luna. I bounce it back with the Compult. He still draws a card because of this one. And he also gets the search. Yeah, but he doesn't do anything else. He moves it to the defense position. I have the Mystical Space Typhoon, but I keep it in hand. I don't destroy this one because in case he sets another Sanctum or Solemn Warning or whatever. I normal summon Graydle Jr., which summons from graveyard an eagle, and then also from hand the alligator, which allows him to go into a Sync Create monster, and then he surrenders at this point because he knew that he wasn't able to do anything. He was at 6,000 life points, so I would have destroyed both of his cards, attack for 3,000, and then I still would have had a Mystical Space Typhoon, so probably wouldn't have been able to do anything beyond that point. The next replay is against Cyber Dragons. Whoa, I swapped by mistake. He let me go first. I search a Torrential Tribute, I set a Torrential and a Draining Shield, normal summon the Cobra just in case I managed to pull that off. But I think I misplayed with this play specifically, which you're gonna see in a second. Also, to be fair, I don't know anything about the Cyber Dragon cards, so I don't really know even whether it's good to Torrential now, or whether there's a way for me to play it like smartly or whatever. He summons a Galaxy Soldier, searches a Galaxy Soldier, summons another one. Okay, so this is where the misplay came in. So he tributed his Omni Rush to protect his one Galaxy Soldier, and then I didn't really think about what I should do. I just kind of reacted on a whim. But I should have let the Cobra be destroyed by Torrential Tribute and then steal his Galaxy Soldier so he doesn't any monsters on the field, right? So he potentially can keep on playing. But what I did instead was, because I knew that he was keeping a monster, I was like, okay, maybe it's better to protect my Cobra with the Kaiju and then like keep a monster on board so I can activate an effect later. But then I forgot that he was getting an Omni Negate if he is able to keep playing. So then I instantly regret my decision. But yeah, I protect the Cobra by banishing Kaiju. He summons another monster, summons Nova. Nova summons that one, Infinity onto the Nova. He attaches this, and yeah, that's a pretty bad spot for me to be in. And then I have this Draining Shield, but that's not going to do anything because you can negate it. Yeah, and then Cyber Dragon's going to attack directly. I don't think I can do anything beyond here. Oh, actually I won this because his time limit was up, which is pretty funny. But obviously this win doesn't count because anything I would have had is Cobra, Torrential Tribute. I would have probably normal summoned the Cobra, attacked for directly to steal the monster. He would have negated it, or I would have just set it and then he would have been able to attack into it and destroy it. But technically I won, I guess, if that counts. Then the next one is against Dark Magician, which was also a pretty clean sweep. Also, it's kind of was good and bad at the same time because I opened 5 back row, so I just set 5 pass, which can be pretty much any control deck. And also a very good situation in this case because I would had an MST for this one and had another MST for the second one. Then he activates Soul Servant, sets 2, puts 1 card on top of his deck, and can't do anything beyond that point. I have a Cobra and normal summon attack directly for 1,000 damage. I still have 2 Crackdowns, a Graydle Split, and a Typhoon. Technically, which I forgot, I didn't think about it, I didn't look at my back row again. I could have activated Split in main phase 1 onto the Cobra, destroyed this, and summon the level 5 and the level 3, summon a Graydle Dragon, destroy his 2 set back rows, and then attack for 3,000, which would have been way better. Obviously in this case, nothing would have happened if he activated his cards. He doesn't control a Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. He can summon a Dark Magician from graveyard, so there's really nothing he could have done. Probably way better play, but you know, just happened. Then he summons Palladium Oracle Mahad. I don't really know what he does, but he in standby phase somehow he summons him. Then he activates another circle. I activate Typhoon again, and also I steal his Mahad monster. And then he banishes Soul Servant to draw 1. He activates normal summons Magician's Rod. I steal him as well, but he still gets Search off. And now he passes again. With those 2 I can't really attack, but oh yeah, now I do the play that I thought about before. I activate summon the level 5, level 3, go into Graydle Dragon, destroys 2 back rows. This could have happened 1 turn earlier, so I could have won now even, I think. Because if I attacked beforehand... Oh wait, let me pause real quick. If I attacked beforehand, he would have been at 5,000. Now he would have been at, well... Yeah, nah, I still wouldn't have won probably, but he would have been way closer to death. So, yeah, now he activates this one, some Fusion Monster, Dark Magician, which is attacking into the Mahad, but somehow he boosts him. I don't know whether this one's effect or whatever. Then he summons both of these, tries to attack over my monster, but I steal his Dark Magician, so he loses a second attack, and also I have the bigger monster on field now. And now I attack for a game pretty much. Very easy sweep here, nothing that was too challenging for me. So, as I said before, it's kind of bad if I open 5 back row and not a single archetype card. Bad in terms of it feels kind of bad. but at the same time, in this case, it was really the best possible play I could have done, probably. So yeah, I can't really complain. And the last replay is against Tenny. I have to be fair, I have never played against Tenny. I don't know what any of them do except for Draco Berserker of the Tenny, but I learned that right now. So he starts off his turn with Foolish with no Sensor card. He has a field spell on board, which at the later point draws him 2 cards, which is pretty dope. And he summons 2 monsters, activates 2 cards. Shaman of the Tenny sends a seed to the graveyard, summons Mare, which gives him 3 tokens. And yeah, that's pretty busted actually. Not necessarily the fact that you can generate 3 tokens, because what he's doing with the tokens isn't busted at all. But as long as there's a non-effect monster on field, his Link 4 monster, which he summoned right now, offers some solid protection, and also he can draw 2 cards if something happens to the normal monster or something like that. I destroy the Thunder Trap, he summons Ultimate Dragon, and the funny thing about this is that I didn't even think about that. I completely forgot that I'm playing this one in another casual deck of mine, and I completely forgot that you can summon this one from the extra deck if I destroy it. So... but at the same time, I had to get rid of it. I couldn't really leave it there. I needed my effects and whatnot. So I normal summoned Alligator. I'm trying to attack over the token, so because I read this one and it said something, or either one of these needs to have a normal monster on field, so I thought I might attack over it. But then I forgot that the Sahasrara can also generate a token by targeting 1 monster I control. So there he gets another token, and now I attack over this one. That doesn't really make a difference. I Kaiju his monster banish, I activate my spell card, and now I'm searching a card. There's nothing else I can do. Also, I think what I try to do is activate Impact and then target Alligator and any 1 card really here to destroy a card and then steal a card as well. But his Sahasrara protected that. He drew 2 cards with a field spell, and now he's pretty much set for anything he needs to do. Summons another token, summons another Shaman. Another Draco Berserker, actually he arrived graveyard, I think, and then this one targeted. He negates the effect with the banish from graveyard, and yeah, that's pretty much game. So that's how I lost against Tenny. It's a pretty cool matchup actually. I like to see what Tenny can do, like as a pure deck, I want to say. So that was interesting. And these are pretty much the 4 replays I wanted to show you guys. Let me just go back to the deck profile real quick. So this is one of the lists that I've been playing, and then the other one is the one without the Kaijus. Overall, as I've said before, it's a pretty fun deck. It's very versatile for a casual deck. You have destruction effects. Your opponent really has to like be careful whether he attacks into your monster, whether he is prepared for that. Yeah. So overall, I would say probably the strength of this deck is that destructions or your monsters being destroyed helps you in the long run, and that they can have some very explosive plays sometimes and destroy multiple cards of your opponent and just run them over with Kaijus and with big attack monsters. The downsides are that this is really not consistent at all. The searches happen in end phase, so that's kind of a bummer. Also, there's no like normal summon search. There's no like advantage to be generated. So in conclusion, guys, what can I say about this deck? Personally, I think it's very fun. It's also nice that your opponent really has to take into consideration whether he really wants to destroy your monster now or not. Because as you've seen, for example, in the Dark Magician game, he attacked over one of my Graydles with the Dark Magician Girl, and then I stole his Dark Magician, which could just beat over his Dark Magician Girl. Also, he lost the second attack. But like, just think about it. Even if he didn't attack into my Graydle, I just would have beaten him in the next turn, right? So there's really not much he would have been able to do anyway, which is very fun to put your opponent into situations like these. Also, this deck is extremely like flexible in terms of deck building, because you can play it in a more controller style. You can play many trap cards. Also, more than half of the deck is not like mandatory for the strategy, so you can swap out any of the cards you think. If your friends, for example, don't play any back row cards, and you can take out the Space Typhoon, you can take out any of the trap cards. If you want to make it more competitively, like more not competitively viable, but just more powerful in general, you can play Floodgates, you can play Kaijus, you can play things like Heat Wave, you can play Hand Traps, you can play Pot of Extravagance, because the extra deck doesn't matter at all. 3 Graydle Dragons would be nice if you play Extravagance, but it's really not necessary. But I think at the point where you play Extravagance, you can also play 3 Graydle Dragons. Not going to be a problem in terms of money. And yeah, there's many different like builds you can do, many different playstyles you can go for. Some people even like to go second because of the Kaijus, and then just trying to steal your monsters, your opponent's monsters, and attack for a game. Okay, so that's everything pretty much I have to say about this deck. I really hope you enjoyed this first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Budget Adventures. I wasn't quite sure how to do it in a in terms of structure. So I just thought, first of all, I could present the deck profile and then show a few replays and talk about some of the strong and weak points of the deck and the strategy in terms in the middle of games or just in deck building in general. So I hope you learned something from this. I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe if you like the Graydles, I can definitely recommend you at least test them out online. They're very fun, especially with the Kaijus, but Kaijus, especially on a more casual setting, Kaijus can be very toxic because your opponent invests his entire resources into like 1 or 2 monsters and you just Kaiju one of them away. It's pretty toxic. But especially against a little more powerful decks, playing the Kaiju variant is extremely fun and extremely strong. So definitely go and give it a try. If you enjoyed this video, then leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, then please let me know in the comments what you didn't like, because I'm always trying to improve my content. Also, if you have any suggestions or ideas for future episodes of this specific series, then also let me know. Like if you would rather see more specific replays or a different style of presentation or anything of the sort, please let me know in the comments. If you're new to the channel, then subscribe as well, because there's way more content to be in the future. And other than that, guys, see you next time.